break. West all alone. Look at Russell come down. And what a play by Russell.
Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan.
Wilkins ties it for Atlanta.
Chicago with the lead.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in.
Michael for three. Yeah!
Jordan, look at that.
Bernard looking for 50, and he's got it. Back-to-back 50-point games for Bernard King.
Come on, man. That's too easy. It's all about momentum. Don't give them no momentum to game 3. Right now.
Jordan trying to shake off Starks. Oh, what a move by Jordan.
What a ball game.
Inbound pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win!
Guys, Rod Strickland, 17 years in the NBA.
And this week I have assistant coach Rod Strickland with us.
Fantastic career.
What's your first recollection of Rod Strickland?
I went to see him at, I think it was at a place called Minnesink House, and they had like a little court, and I was watching him play there, and that was the first time I think I saw you play.
Now, a little bit about you and your background.
Tell us a little about your background, where you grew up, what life was like as a kid.
I'm in the boogie down.
Yeah, well, I'm from New York City, South Bronx.
If you pop that junk up in the Bronx, you might not live, because you're in South Bronx, the South Bronx, South Bronx, the South Bronx, South Bronx, the South Bronx, South Bronx, the South Bronx.
From the South Bronx.
Growing up in New York and getting that kind of attention that the other guys aren't getting, the kind of attention reserved for he's going to play in the league. What's that like, Rod?
Well, you kind of been groomed that way. So, you know, when I was young, I wanted to stay on the court with the big guys, so I had to learn how to pass. And my whole thing was, if they want the ball, I'll be on the court. So I would throw behind the back passes and all that to stay on the court. And then, you form a reputation. Guys are like, that young fella can play.
An All-American at DePaul, were drafted in the first round, left after your junior year, and had a long NBA career.
Delta center, Rod Strickland, we were talking about him before the break. He came to the Trailblazers with a lot of baggage, a reputation as a troublemaker. We asked Coach Rick Adelman how he's fit in.
He is such a good player, and he has been nothing but a plus for us. I don't see any of this stuff about problems or anything else. I haven't had one thing. If anything, he's been so receptive and so positive. He's just been a real plus for us. And we weren't crazy in getting him. We wouldn't have been crazy not to get him.
I think this guy is perhaps the most underrated player, certainly the most underrated point guard in the league. Look at those stats. Leads the league in assists. He's never made an all-star team in 10 years. He can drive to the basket, he can finish, but he can also pass in the cracks. I'll tell you, he makes his team go.
Brandon Williams from the CBA to the NBA. Strickland on the inbound, got inside, laid it in.
It was 2 or 3 guys that when you watch.
Okay, now how did the competition, I'm sure there's great competition in the Bronx, New York City. How did that prepare you for the higher levels that you eventually achieved?
I think it made me very, very competitive because New York City, especially back then, was known really for basketball. If you came from New York City, that was a big deal.
And, because when you're in New York City, and Kenny knows this, everybody's trying to wow the crowd. Everybody's trying to get everybody off their seats. So, after a while, you just realize, ball handling and, you try to shake somebody.
And there was a lot of guys who could play. So even if you had a name, if you was a pro, you had to always kind of battle guys. So for me, coming up as a name, potential pro, every time I stepped out on the court, I had to win. And it wasn't just winning the game, I had to win the battle of whoever I was playing against. Otherwise, it would go around the city that, I lost and he bust my behind. So I always had to be on my A game, which kept me competitive.
Rod, you led the league in assists.
Here's now the first one with Rod Strickland.
Now these career numbers for you, Rod, you ranked 10th all-time in assists.
Rod Strickland into the front court, down low, Tracy Murray, and they're clicking as he dunks it home.
And you've been out of the game for 10 years.
And it knocked away by Strickland. No-look pass. It's a race between Tracy Murray and Dickie Simpkins. Murray behind the back and dunked it home. And Strickland running the break, looking for other people, scoring when it's there.
tell us about your go-to move and just, controlling the game. Did you have a go-to move, Rod?
I had a couple go-to moves.
I know you did. Man.
Strickland, little pick and roll, goes right down the middle again and a fake and gets another 2.
Well, at the top of the key, obviously, guys would play back on me some.
Right.
So my thing was, if I can get into any area in the mid-range, I'll shoot the shot. I wasn't scared of that.
Now the Spurs with a chance to take the lead again, and Rod Strickland gives it to him right there. Rod Strickland hits his second shot. To be an offensive threat. They don't have to double. Rod Strickland hits the short jumper.
But I would come here, and I'll give it to you, and like I'm going right. Kind of like him, and I'm going left.
Now, Brandon Williams is matched up against Calbert Chaney. They say Chaney's 6'7".
But I also would do it going behind my back. So I would go here, and I always tell people, I'm gonna take you one way hard, and if you cut me off, I'm just going the other way. So I would hit you here, cut me off behind the back, in here, shot layup.
Dealing with Rod Strickland for 44 minutes, that could be difficult. Strickland behind the back, his jumper from the foul line is perfect.
You would go, man, maybe I could add that to my game.
What a lot of people don't know, dog, I like to give this to you, dog. You was one of the best under the rim at not only finishing over to the glass, man, the English.
And I loved all of this, Dr. J, go under the basket. And I did that a lot if you think back at it.
Strickland right down the lane. Another.
Finger rolled it in again.
Acrobatic reverse layup.
When did you perfect the art of not getting your shot blocked? Because it was you and a couple other guys that I could never block your shot.
Strickland around the screen at the head of the key, all the way to the rim.
Now, I would go at guys, because we had the little circle under there. If I see you under there, I'm running you over.
I got you.
I'm going to try to run you over.
Ernie, let me tell you what this character did.
Okay.
There are different ways to score inside, and obviously a guy 6'1" is not going to go up and dunk over a guy 6'10".
So I'm going to come in and I'm going to come straight at your chest. And then I'm going to take away all of that, and then I'm going to move it a little bit. But I'm coming straight at you.
Hello. Okay. This morning, so he said, big fella, I'm going to be on the show. He sends me a picture of me not blocking the shot. So I'm looking at the picture, and I got to wild up. He laid me.
I mean, to become an NBA player is hard. Not many people can do it. So you have to be different. You have to be special, and you have to have a great work ethic.
In the style that we play.
Using angles in people's bodies.
Practice it.
Really?
Strickland, after Cummings, and the basket counts in a foul for hustling Rod Strickland.
People may not, right here.
Right, this right here. This
because once I get in here.
Force for San Antonio has been the guy with the ball right now. Strickland on the offensive board.
It became a habit.
Why not
after
go back
a
and get the footage of Rod scoring on me down low? I didn't like that. I didn't appreciate that. Matter of fact, that was the game I'm talking about right there.
Strickland isolated against Tony Delk on the left wing. They keep going into their point guard. His shot off the glass and around a flailing Dampier and in.
You see how he created, though?
And I was good at this. Right. So if you come up, I'm dropping it. And if you don't, I can keep hitting that.
Out to Strickland in the crowd. Anderson to Strickland, penetrating again with that familiar arc.
And get him out of the snide that is in.
And Rod Strickland in the lane again.
Strickland in the lane again. His 10-footer's good.
Strickland.
So with me playing with you, for a second, and it seemed to me like every time when you broke your man down, no matter if it was on the wing or the top, and you got to the bucket, and even if you didn't get that body contact from that big stepping up, you always hit that ooh.
Right.
True story.
What did the ooh mean?
I don't know. I don't know.
Ooh.
they die! And he shields boys!
A lot of dudes used to mess with me with that. Ooh,
Right.
ooh,
Like,
I don't
ooh.
know. I can't even explain it. I thought I was
you got to
doing
answer that.
something. I guess I was oohing myself. Ooh.
I'm going to read a quote here. It came from Maurice Cheeks. If anybody, maybe the older generation remembers Maurice Cheeks, and you said he was kind of an idol growing up, and I guess once upon a time you got actually traded for him. What Mo Cheeks had said is, the mark of any true player is that someone doesn't want to play against him. I'm sure guys around the league say that when they have to play Rod. So that's a pretty high compliment from somebody. And I know, anybody here who plays basketball, there's usually somebody, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to go up against this guy. And it sounds like you were that guy in the NBA.
Yeah, well, that's a big compliment coming from Mo Cheeks, because like I said, I idolized him growing up, watching him play with Julius Irving. So I actually just, in the last 5 years, saw that quote. I didn't know that was out there. But to hear that from him, that's big time.
What has been your experience? What do you see with the way kids are being taught the game? Are they learning the game of basketball, or are they learning particular skills that will help them succeed in basketball? Do they know the game, Rod?
I think back in our day, we learned basketball. We knew how to pass and cut. From an early age, I learned right hand, left hand. And I think now, a lot of times we find the talented kids early. They might be physically gifted, and they might have some skills, and I don't know if we develop them like they were developed back in the day. And, I even talk to my kids. When kids don't have the ball, sometimes they don't know what to do.
This is something that you live, basketball, and you got to be dedicated to working hard and getting in the gym. You can't have people trying to get you in the gym. You have to be self-motivated.
And I just emulated them.
Well, when you see your title being taken, it says Rod Strickland, he's the best little guy finisher.
Mm-hmm.
And now you see, we talk about you all the time. On the show, now we got to pass that title to Kyrie Irving.
Mm-hmm.
When I watch what you just broke down, you know what I saw? I saw a lot of Kyrie, man. When I see him get in here, he has a floater, left hand, right hand.
He's got to be aggressive. That's who he is.
He can finish left-handed.
Now, you got to stop and enjoy that for a moment, everybody.
He does a lot of misdirection. You turn him off, he's splitting, he's cutting.
Curly Neal is somewhere saying, yeah, I like that. I used to do that for the Globetrotters. You look at this ball handling.
A lot of similarities in y'all game,
Let's
man.
dribble.
That was so quick with the dribble, and he was played extremely well. Irving crossover, flips it a bang.
Rod had less dribbles and got to the basket.
Yeah, well, I couldn't. I tell people, like, Kyrie can play with people.
Which way did he go? I don't know. Oh, he's at the basket. Kyrie Irving.
I was a reactionary dribbler. You know what I mean? Like, I get where I want to get, but I reacted to you. I'm going to take you one way, and then I'm coming back out. I didn't have that. I don't know that.
I got you.
I don't even know the word, but to be able to just come down court and just dribble like seven, you know, that's a gift.
Does he amaze you at times?
Absolutely. But, you know, it's like all in the family watching him. But he definitely amazes me.
Split the defense, goes inside.
Obviously one of the best players in the world at this point in the NBA for sure, Kyrie Irving. And I think once in a while you hear comparisons, his game to yours.
Right.
Number one, and number two, you have a neat connection with him as his godfather.
Yes. And it's funny because...
Are y'all actually related? I know Cy and everybody else, but it's related by we grew up at this...
Grew up together.
Right,
Me, his father, Dedrick Irving, great friends, best of friends. Saeed, Ty, all of us grew up together. I'm his godfather.
Me and his father grew up playing basketball. We've known each other since the 3rd grade. So, I mean, basically, we've spent almost every day of our lives together growing up in the Bronx. We grew up playing AAU together. You know, while I was in the NBA, you know, basically we were in it together. So, you know, we talk to each other all the time. His family. You know, his family, my family, great connection.
But, you know, watching him, it's like he's 2.0.
Tricked him, Kyrie Irving, do it to him.
You know, I watch him go to the basket and take bumps. And, you know, when he was in high school and he was in college, people used to say, hey, he plays like you. And I had my chest stuck out, you know, like, yeah, I like that. You know, but once he got to the league, and I just saw some different things, the way he handles the ball, the way he takes the bumps. And, you know, I'm like, don't even compare me to him. He's different. He's different. He's special.
Larry Legend.
61 for Larry Bird.
Yes.
Who's got Larry Bird stories?
I wasn't around long because he was hurt when I was playing that first year or second year. But I just remember one quick thing. We were playing against him, and I think I stole the ball from him. And I just remember him turning around saying, you little piece of And I was like, that, to me, that was Larry Bird. And I was so happy because I'm like, that Larry Bird told me you're a little piece of You know what I'm saying? Like, because I idolized Larry Bird. I call me a piece of
what? You do a very good job at editing your cell phone now.
Now, you got a nice honor coming out of the school system in New York. You're part of the New York Basketball Hall of Fame?
Yes, yes.
And there's got to be a list of some pretty good players that came out of that part of the country.
Oh, absolutely. It was a big-time honor. You know, it's funny, after you play for all those years, I never was one to kind of look at the accolades and was really into awards and all that. But once I retired and was able to be honored at the New York Basketball Hall of Fame, that was big time for me.
When I poked around and did a little background on you, looking on the internet, I think one of the words that kind of came up was that you were underrated. Now, I don't quite know what that means, or if it just added motivation to you that people didn't maybe entirely appreciate what you did on the basketball court.
Well, I don't know. I'm top 30 in steals too.
Top 30 in steals. Okay.
No, but I don't know. For me, I think everybody that I played with and played against, respect what I've done over those 17 years. And, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. I've been blessed to play 17 years in the NBA. Whoever you feel underappreciated over, I appreciate the fact that I played 17 years. It's not many guys who could say that. So, I mean, I've been blessed.